Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Monday, November 20th, 2023, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Reed?
Here.
Councilor Kohler?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Starr?
Here.
Councilor Duran?
Here.
Councilor Cross?
Here.
Councilor Hessman?
Councilor Husband is excused this evening.
Youth Councilor Woodard?
Here.
Thank you very much. I invite you all to rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. It is now my pleasure to turn this over to Chief Copeland for the presentations that you have come to celebrate this evening.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council. Officers, if you want to kind of step up and address yourself this way right here. Try to get this up a little bit so you can hear. It's a long time in the coming for this presentation, so Council, I appreciate the opportunity to present this in front of you tonight. These are some highly courageous and men that deserve an award. Thank you all for coming as well to be witnesses to this. This is a big deal for our agency and for the lives of these gentlemen and for the families involved. I'll describe the incident. It was a couple years ago. On July 28th, 2021, in the afternoon, one of our officers took a report from a gal that detailed out a gentleman who stole her car and had several weapons with him. This gentleman had warrants as well, and so we had vehicle description, we knew who he was, and we knew he was armed. At about 20:43 hours, Sergeant DeMarco, Officer Keniston, Officer Kowash, Officer Darst, Officer Fahey, and Officer Stupfel responded to the Keizer Veterinary Clinic located at 4815 River Road North because that vehicle was described as being behind the clinic. Officer Darst arrived on scene with Officer Stupfel first, and they observed the suspect with the vehicle with another person. The suspect was armed. They all knew that he was there and armed. They created a plan. They drove in behind the suspect vehicle. Sergeant DeMarco started to give commands. As they're behind the vehicle, the suspect was now sitting in the driver's seat of the car, and as he's giving commands, the suspect is not listening. Looking back at him, looking back at him, looking back at him, and then about the fourth time he looks back, he produces a firearm and starts shooting at the officers. The officers return fire. The suspect hunkered down in the car in between the seats and continued to shoot at our officers, all 6 of these officers. They returned fire, multiple rounds trying to eliminate the threat. I will tell you, all while doing this, there was a passenger in the driver's in the car at the time who was not hit at all, and he ended up being completely fine. Sean Beck was a suspect, and he was hit a few times, but he was able to negotiate out of the parking lot where Officer Keniston picked him up on River Road. And Officer Keniston, knowing that these officers had just been in a gun battle with this suspect, pursued him alone on River Road for quite some time. It ended up over by Home Depot on Cherry Avenue, where Salem officer ended up able to use a pit maneuver to get the suspect vehicle turned around, and where it head-on collided with Officer Keniston's car. Tonight we're celebrate their willingness to risk their own safety to overcome a deadly threat and prevent further life to the innocents. It's a big deal being involved in an incident like this. It's a once in a lifetime, you hope. And the way they responded and the way they dealt with adversity that night was unprecedented. There's video of all of this, and it was seen by the grand jury and a bunch of people and at the sentencing, and it's pretty heroic what they did. The way they stood there and bullets were flying at them and they didn't retreat. You pray as an officer, as a cop, and I've never been in this situation, but you pray you would respond to that situation the same as these gentlemen did. It was absolutely amazing. So this is overdue. This is overdue. And Sergeant DeMarco, phenomenal leadership. I was in Idaho at the time when this happened. And as soon as the suspect drove away and Officer Kennison was pursuing him, he called me on the phone. He's complete control of his voice, of his mind, of just in complete control. And he was like, hey, we're gonna need some resources here. We just got into a gunfight. And he made it sound like it was not a big deal. But that's the calm, rational presence that these officers bring to your community. In the midst of complete chaos, in the worst situations you can imagine yourself, when you're dreaming at night, like what situation would be terrible for me to be in? A surprise gun shooting at you is not good. And all 6 of them were amazing under pressure. So I just thank you for working at Keizer. I thank you for being a part of this family. I thank you for continuing to work and serve this community over the last 2.5 years. Excellent work. Excellent police work then, excellent police work ever since. And you guys have been involved in many other incidents and you handle yourselves very professionally. So it is my honor and my privilege to stand before you as the Chief of Police at Keizer and give you these Medal of Valor awards that you can show to your kids and hopefully to your grandkids, and you can tell the story of how you were victorious that day and you came home and you did the best you did to keep this community safe. Very proud of you. Thank you for your time.
Whoa.
Yeah, one with Olive. Yeah, with your awards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you hold up your awesome?
I would like to invite all family members who like to come up and take pictures to please go ahead and do so you get a good view. Oh.
So you guys just stocked it. You're not gonna have pictures.
Oh, you've got a few more coming, don't worry. Yes, there are people who would like to get pictures, and we will take our time this evening. Again, I apologize for making you wait, but also thank you. Gentlemen, we'd love to shake hands with you. Thank you all for your incredible service to our community. One more time for our Keizer Police. Thank you. job. Thank you so much.
What a kid, dude. What a good feel-good thing.
Yes. So while folks are heading to visit in the Civic Center living room and further enjoy well-deserved credit and family time, we are going to go ahead and move on with our committee reports. Do we have an issue?
Yeah, put some lights out.
Okay, all right. The first item is the Volunteer Coordinating Committee recommendation for appointment, Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee. And that goes to, is it Ms. Bissett? Okay.
Great. The Volunteer Coordinating Committee met on November 9th to review and interview applicants for openings on the Traffic Safety Bikeways and Pedestrian Committee. 2 applications were received, and only one applicant was able to attend the interview, and that was Michael DeBlasi, who is currently serving. And so the Volunteer Coordinating Committee made a recommendation to the council to appoint Mr. DeBlasi for position 3 for a term that expires December 31st, 2026.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the recommendation of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee? Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council accept the recommendations of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee and appoint Michael DeBlasi to position 3 of the Traffic Safety Bikeways and Pedestrian Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2026.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the recommendation of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with 1 absent. That is Councilor Hussman. That takes us then to item 5B, which is Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency Board of Directors appointment for Councilor Laura Reed. About a year or 2 ago, maybe longer.
3, I believe.
It's been a while. The Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency began the process of inviting local governments to appoint members to their boards of directors, recognizing that the work of providing services to our community is truly a partnership across the agencies that provide services, government, nonprofits, and so forth. And that's how we collaboratively in this community have been able to do a good job and an improving job providing services to people in our community. With that in mind, they invited the city of Keizer to appoint a member, and it's taken a while to go through their process, and I am very pleased to appoint Councilor Laura Reed to fill that position on the Community Action Board of Directors. So congratulations to Councilor Reed. Third up is appointments to the Community Diversity Engagement Committee. Councilor Cross, just to reiterate, your appointee to the Community Diversity Engagement Committee is?
Carrie Brown.
Carrie Brown. And Councilor Duran, your appointee to the Community Diversity Engagement Committee is?
Stephanie Cross.
Thank you. And Councilor Kohler, your appointee to the Community Diversity Engagement Committee is?
Jill Guest.
Thank you very much. That will conclude all of the terms that were expiring at the end of 2023, and the Community Diversity Engagement Committee is fully, has all positions filled. All right, thank you very much for that. We do have some committee reports, and we'll start with Lisa Sajeka, Parks Report.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Was there another, I don't have it here, was there another issue with regard to the dates in that, is that part of that?
Regarding the end of the terms, I think the it's going to be amended to, all of those terms will expire at the end of December rather than the end of November for the Community Diversity Engagement Committee to make it concurrent with the appointment process for city councilors, which began at the beginning of each
Right.
biennium.
Yeah, I was just, sorry, I was trying to find the staff report. There was a proposed motion to that effect.
Okay.
Listed at the beginning of the staff report.
Let me get to that page, so.
For those of you that might not have been able to catch that in the staff report, it's just a moving it by 1 month because to match up with the January. So a motion to that effect is in that staff report.
Okay. Council President Starr, do you have that handy?
Sure. I move that the Keizer City Council adopt all terms of office for the Community Diversity Engagement Committee end December 31st of the year that they expire.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. There it is. Okay. That all terms of office for the Community Diversity Engagement Committee end December 31 of the year that they expire. Friendly amendment, that these only apply to the terms of office for the,
Non-council.
for the non-council members.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's correct.
Accepted.
Clarification?
Yes.
Just council and appointed, because we also have the youth counselor that you've appointed too. Is that part of that, or?
No.
Okay.
The youth counselor is on the same rotation. I think her term is up next year or the year after, but that ends at December.
Okay.
It would change to December 31st. The only one that would not change, and that would be on the regular biennium schedule of appointment at the beginning of each odd number year, would be the city council appointments, and that's made by the mayor.
Yes, I accept that.
Okay, so the friendly amendment has been accepted. Anything further? Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just to clarify, some of these terms were sort of arbitrarily designed to stagger so that we had some appointees outliving their appointer in terms of the counselor. So we're not changing any of those years. It's just the date to December 30th.
It's from November 30th to December 31st.
Okay.
The same exact year. So the staggering is still in place, which was important to the council when they put the committee together.
Okay,
They
so
wanted
that
staggered
piece
terms.
is stay.
Right.
So, okay.
That's the difference between that and the VCC, which is more directly related to the counselor's terms, if you
Okay.
see what I mean.
Okay, I just
Okay.
wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Okay. All right, anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, and that's Councilor Hessman. Okay, anything else I missed before we go to the Parks report? All right, Parks report, and that would be Lisa Sajeka.
Yes, lucky you get me again.
Hey.
I'm Lisa Sajeka. I'm the vice chair of the Parks Board, and I'm usually the fill-in person if the person giving the report can't quite make it. So here I am, Madam Mayor, council, staff, thank you for having me. We had our meeting on the November 14th. Pretty quick meeting. We, on our agenda, we had the tagging wall or the legal graffiti wall idea, but we haven't heard from the Arts Commission yet. So because I have a small in on the Arts Commission, I'm gonna see if I can get any information out of the youth counselor or the youth liaison, since she lives at my house. I have Counselor Reed as a backup in case the youth liaison is a little closed-mouthed. The park board, the park reports, the parks that we talked about, they all look fantastic. I have Palmacia and Willamette Manor, like everything is going well. The grant that was issued to put some native plants in Willamette Manor, that has been done. The plants look fabulous. They put up little caution tape barriers to keep people from accidentally straying into the brand new plants. All of that looks really, really good. And now my phone went dark. And the other issue that we talked about is the fence around Ben Miller Park, or part of the fence with Ben Miller Park. And we hadn't heard a lot since we did our tour of parks, but Counselor Kohler, who is the liaison for that neighborhood association and for parks, said at the last meeting that the people from the neighborhood association were not thrilled with having a fence at the park. And we respected their wishes, and we, we set it aside. And if that comes up later, we're more than happy to take that up. Let's see. Oh, and just take one little thing. The person in charge of the maintenance at Keizer Rapids is Jose. Jose apparently worked for the water department for a very long time and retired, and then came back on as a, what? Oh, it's Juan.
It's Juan.
Okay. I only found out on the 14th of November his name. I just know that he's a delightful man who is always working and is always smiling and never tries to push you out of the way with this truck when you're on the path in front of him. Like, I mean, and that's a big thing. I'm on those paths a lot, and, just super, super nice. Unfortunately, it's now time for all the part-time people to go and take their sabbatical, and we hope to have him back next year, but he's fabulous. And then the last thing that I have to say is, we talked about maybe we should cancel the December meeting on December 12th. All of the people thought that we should come and talk about parks on December 12th. So we will be having a meeting in December. Come see us. We're lovely people. We're a lot of fun. If you can't make it in person, watch us on TV. Other than that, I don't have a lot to say.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate the report. Any questions on the Parks report? I was the one who brought up the idea of putting the ball fence. It's just a low 3-foot safety fence on the street side of the park, the busy street side of the park. So I guess if the neighborhood doesn't want that, just studies show that when there is a visible barrier, children tend to use the entire space rather than anticipate that's too far and then only use a portion of the park. That's well established in playgrounds. But
Yeah.
okay.
No, I mean, and it's a great idea. I mean, and all of just having some sort of barrier.
Right.
The only thing that when Robert was talking about it, he was saying that that side close to the schools, they have to use it to get equipment in there. They would have to have a gate that opened to, and then that causes some other logistical problems.
Okay.
But I mean, and it wasn't a problem, it was just information. But,
See, there's some other ways to help that space feel like there's a hard stop for the children so they can concentrate on kicking the ball around rather than also having to keep an eye out for going too far.
yeah, no, it makes sense.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Fernando Lopez for the Planning Commission. Always good to see you.
Hello, Fernando, Keizer, Planning Committee. I need to get used to taking my hat off. It's my comfort hat. Thank you. We had what I hear is a very interesting or different meeting. Was my first one, so yeah, jump right in. But we were able to hear an appeal. So thank you to Shane too already for the help. Let's see here. So we met in a regular session on November 8th. And the topic of the evening was help me pronounce that word. Quasi-judicial process for a petition with a major variance. After hearing both parties, the council unanimously agreed that we agreed with the staff report. So that was good to see, and experience. So yeah, but other than that, I mean, it was, I think that was our whole meeting there. And then we've agreed unanimously to not meet in December. So we're gonna meet back, so sorry. Yeah, and then we'll be back in January. So that was it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Of course.
So is the hearing that was held at Planning Commission, that ends there, or is that still?
It's subject to appeal to council.
Okay.
So it would be better for council not to discuss the matter in case it comes before you with regard to ex parte contacts.
Thank you. That's what I was hoping you would say. Appreciate that.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that is everybody I have for committee reports. Is there anyone here for a committee report that I missed? Okay. We will then go to public comment. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have no public hearings scheduled for this evening. And before we go to spoken word, I would like to acknowledge a written comment from Alex Bognoff, Keizer resident, and his topic was graffiti. And my question to Mr. Lawyer about a response to his, and you know, a lot of us have had concerns about graffiti around town, and this has been an ongoing effort. So any update on his letter or the work that is proceeding with graffiti around town?
I haven't seen his letter, so I can't speak to that.
I will refer it to you. Mr. Witham, you seem to have.
Sure, yeah, I've talked to Alex a few times. I think he's talked to Ben as well. This specific incident, I think in his letter, that particular business was a challenge to get a hold of. We went around with a property management company for a while, had sent some notices. It was on private property, so it wasn't a city-owned property, so a little more difficult for us to just go and paint over somebody's wall. But we were able to get in touch with them, and finally, when we got a hold of the right person, they actually responded fairly quickly. It just was, unfortunately, a very long time coming that was very frustrating to our staff. So, but I know that he has, graffiti is tough, as we've talked about it a lot here, and I think our police department and the code enforcement department and code enforcement guy and public works do a really darn good job of trying to stay on top of it the best that we can. So, yeah.
No, I appreciate that it's been addressed. Thank you so much. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I did want to just follow up on one statement. In his letter, I have on many occasions reported the graffiti on the city website with no response. Was that an issue with the form? Do we know, did we follow up to get more information on that to make sure everything's working on the back end of the website reporting tool?
Yeah, we got his reports for the business that had the graffiti on it. Generally, we do not, as a practice, I mean, the graffiti reform, I think Kara created it. That's not, we don't go and email everybody back who reports graffiti. We go and deal with the graffiti generally. So now with Alex's case, I know he did have contact. So, yeah.
Okay.
But the form is working. I mean,
The form
yep.
is working.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I just don't want people, I want to make sure everybody uses it and that we are responding as appropriate. So
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Other written communication came from Commissioner Colin Willis, who wrote and said, "Thank you so much for your sponsorship of this year's reentry breakfast. I so appreciate Keizer's steadfast support of this initiative." From Commissioner Colin Willis, and it was truly our pleasure to do so for a great program for our community. I'd like to call up first Keizer Board of Director member Colleen Bush to talk about the Keizer Fire Levy. And while you're at it, if you want to talk about the holidays, since you are in holiday garb.
put me on the spot.
You're always ready.
Hi, Colleen Bush, I'm representing Keizer Fire District, and I live in Keizer. And I just wanted to say thank you to our community for supporting our efforts and keeping our community safe and responding to your emergencies by passing the fire levy for Keizer Fire District. That will start, you'll see that take effect for the November tax season. And if you want more details, there's a whole thing on the, why do I always get so nervous? I am so sorry. Anyway, we went from $1.35 to $1.99. So, no, yeah. See, can I start over? I apologize. But if you want more information on what that will do for Keizer Fire District and for our community, go to keizerfire.com and look that up. And so just a brief thank you very much for all the effort. I do want to give kudos to directors Van Meter and Hart for their tireless efforts in heading up the PAC, the Political Action Committee, and getting all of the information out to our community, the different videos they put on, and as well as the Friends of Keizer Fire District Facebook page. So you can check those things out as well for the results and extra stuff there. So we are going to have a Santa breakfast, December 10. It will start at 7:30 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. It's an all-you-can-eat, and the cost, and you can get your pictures taken with Santa. The costs are adults $9, seniors and veterans $6, children 5 to 12 $6, under 5 can eat free. Proceeds will be donated to Keizer Food Bank and Keizer Fire Foundation. And then Candy Cane Day will be, I don't have a date, December 16th at the Keizer Fire Station. It is a drive-through. Load up your family in your car and come down and see Santa and get a candy cane. And you might even get to see Bernie, the safety elf. He comes to Keizer December 1st via Facebook and our Keizer Fire Facebook. So watch his antics and follow his directions so you are fire safe. And then Keizer Fire will also participate in the Chambers Parade and the tree lighting. And it's so good to be doing all that again. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. We appreciate the partnership with the city and the Keizer Fire District.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, I do not have anyone else signed up for public comment this evening. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council this evening? All right, we will then go to administrative action. Item 8A is a resolution adopting use policies and rates for the Keizer Community Center rooms, repealing resolution R 2018-2932. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, this is somewhat of a carryover from the work session on November 13th. We discussed in detail the operations of the community center. In summary, the community center has been operating with use policies and rates that were adopted in December 2018. The actual rates that we charge for use were actually set in 2015. There were just some other things added back in 2018. So we're going on about 8 or 9 years with the existing rates. The 2018 rates provided a balanced approach in which market rate events subsidized community-based gatherings. The intent of the rate structure was to allow the community center to financially support itself but not be a significant revenue generator. Staff has reviewed the rates charged by other venues in the area and are proposing the following rate per hour increases. This is the primary change in the resolutions. We're looking at taking the small room use rate from $25 to $35, the medium-sized room from $100 to $125, and the large room from $250 to $325. This was based off of looking at comparable venues in the area, and you can see the high and low comparisons that we ended up with. In addition to strengthening our marketing efforts and be consistent with the venues that provide comparable service offerings, we're also recommending that we change the name from the Keizer Community Center to the Keizer Event Center. And with that, since we've discussed this at quite a extended length at the last work session. I'll go ahead and turn it over to you folks.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on the staff report? I'm going to start with Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a couple questions. I contacted you today, Mr. Wood, about the contract, and you let me know that you'll be working on that. Is that correct, right?
That is correct. We typically don't have administrative forms approved by the council.
Well, and the only reason I'm asking is because under Section 4 analysis, timing, the new rate structure would take effect immediately for events not already scheduled,
That is correct.
without the contract being done?
We'll work on it.
Okay. And I'll just add that I hope that when we put out that new contract, that it's also put out in Spanish.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think this is just I would like to understand the importance of the rate effect taking, or the rate increase taking effect immediately. I just have some thoughts about people maybe already having an application or a contract, or have the information, the rates downloaded and are planning and budgeting for an event. I'm just curious about why starting immediately versus giving a 30-day notice and starting it and publicizing it to January 1st.
Sure. I think I'll have to turn this over to legal. I guess typically our resolutions do take effect when signed.
Right. You can make that date. That's just the automatic date. So I don't think it was intentional that it'd be. Resolutions typically always take effect immediately, unlike ordinances. So council can choose whatever date they wish.
Great.
If you feel January 1st would be a better date, that's no problem.
Would you like to ask Ms. Vaughn to come up and talk
Sure,
about
that'd be great.
things that are in the works?
And I will say that regardless of what date you pick, if we have somebody on the contract, they could get the rates that they did when they signed the contract.
Right, but I might have the
But
information.
you might have somebody that is right in that between, which I think is the one, kind of the people you're referring to, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, Council, thank you for having me. So for the last few months, we kind of knew this was in the works. We knew that we would be taking a look at the rates and possibly changing them. We weren't positive whether they'd go up or down, but that is something that we have been open with our clients about, especially as we've started booking 2024. We are urging them to get us their use agreements so that they can, and use agreements because the rates that are in the contract now, that are published on the website, that are on our printed materials, are good if they get us our use agreement. And we've been honest too, we don't know when or if the prices will change. We don't know if it's going to happen in 1 month or 6 months, but we have been open when people ask questions about our prices. We do kind of throw it in there to help people get ready, but I think that if there is a recommendation from the council or legal about when it goes into effect, or, I mean, we'd be happy to oblige.
Thank you. Councilor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have another question. When I was reading the resolution, it went from $1 million to $2 million, and we didn't ever speak about that. So is that for medium-sized groups?
I'll turn that back over to legal as well.
Our insurer is recommending that all contracts should go to a minimum of $2 million. I thought we had a provision in there unless the particular contract calls otherwise. I didn't look at this recently, but
It said specific contract, so I had a question about what that meant.
let me just turn to that page and double check. Well, that's for the alcohol. And I think we were being a little, well, the other one went to 2 million too at the bottom of the same page. Okay. Well, I would suggest, Mr. Brown suggested on a different matter involving the same issue with regard to insurance that we should be a little more flexible when we're talking about a really small group or a small limited one. And I believe in that one, I think it was subject to the city attorney provision in terms of risk management. you remember?
Yes, permission to speak?
Mr. Brown?
Thanks, Madam Mayor and Council. This came up, I believe, when we were talking about the coffee carts in the park.
Oh, the other, yeah.
And so we asked the question about, is a flat amount fair for everything? And so we came up with some wording, I believe, in that item.
And I'll have some wording for you when you're ready for a motion.
Okay. They'll have the flexibility for the large events versus small, and then alcohol is a whole different matter. Isn't that the 2 million level?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Councilor Cross, follow up?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So my question is, so say it's whatever, the medium group, 75 to 100, so it's still 2 million for alcohol because that doubles the price on their day of event insurance.
I don't know that it would actually double the amount
It's going to increase it.
Yeah, it would increase it.
Yeah.
My suggestion is, and you can make it subject to somebody else, I don't want to reach, because I'm going to be gone anyway, in a little while. I would not automatically say for X group, especially with alcohol, that you drop that to 1 million in all cases. I think that has to be on a case-by-case basis. I just would be concerned about the liability.
Sorry, follow up. I'm just thinking out loud here. Well, if there's a way we can have that verbiage be pretty concrete, I'm very fearful when we have loose words because it's in the interpretation of the sentence.
Ms. Brown?
I wonder if we could actually ask for Councilor Cross's, since she does have some experience in this, her professional experience, what they do over at the Salem.
We do 1 million.
1 million.
For everybody.
For everybody.
Regardless of how large the group is.
I believe Tim has one of the contracts that I've sent you, along with the cancellation fees. Yeah.
Further questions? Councilor Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to clarify in terms of the name change. I know we talked about it at the work session, but I wanted to put on the record here that several of us were wanting to have the community center as a sense of community, but Ms. Vaughn helped us understand that in terms of the industry norms, when we say community center, people generally expect some kind of programming, or it's a different thing just in terms of the industry norms. So that's why we decided that to support that idea of it being an event center, because that's what people call expecting.
Thank you. And actually, that would be really good for Ms. Vaughn. Would you explain to us, to people who are watching this recording, because it wasn't broadcast from the work session, what that difference is when people call and it says community center, what they expect, and then the decision to go ahead with the name change. I think you explained it really well.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council. Yes, my colleague Daisy and I answer all the calls that come in for the Keizer Community Center, and we do take several calls a week, especially in the summertime, where people are calling to ask what city-sponsored events the community center is holding for the public. And we did a little research, and there's about 9 community centers in the area, from here to Dallas to Albany to West Salem, Wilsonville. There is one that they want to do in Woodburn, all called community centers that have city-sponsored classes like Silver Sneakers classes. Several of them have swimming pools with swim lessons offered by the city. Many of them are also work in conjunction with their parks and recreation departments to hold concerts or family events in parks. And so we find that that's not what we're offering here. And we are more like the event spaces. When I'm out networking and meeting other people in the industry, and I say I'm with the Keizer Community Center, there is some confusion about what exactly we do. And I have to explain, add a couple more sentences to say that we hold events and that we are an event center. And so it has posed a little bit of communication trouble when meeting people, networking, sharing what we do and what we offer, and getting our name out there as an event space for clients that we're trying to reach.
Thank you. I really appreciate getting that out there so people understand what the nexus is here. Thank you. Anything further? Councilor Cross?
This is just a follow-up to Mr. Brown, when you were asking about the insurance, but with a certain amount of groups, say it's over 400, we do require security. So professional security that would have their own insurance also.
Okay. Anything further? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I posed this question a little bit to Mr. Wood earlier, and I just want to reiterate, make sure that this is the case, that we have evaluated what our costs are for everything and that these rate increases will cover our costs, or are we still shy?
The event center will still be subsidized by the transient occupancy tax.
To the tune of about how much?
Well, we receive, gosh, I'm trying to remember how much we got, $350,000 in TOT tax. We didn't use all of that for the event center, but it is dedicated towards that. So right now I'm looking, it's subsidizing probably $250,000.
Follow-up?
Thank you. Would it be prudent to figure out what our costs are and just charge that? I mean, I look at it, if I owned a restaurant and I said, well, gosh, so-and-so's charging $2.95 for their burger, it costs me $2.75 to do it, I better just do it at $2.95, and isn't it better to figure out what it's gonna cost us and charge that?
That's a great recommendation. Anecdotally, I've started working on that a little bit today, lining a few things up. And unfortunately, the answer would be we should probably charge about $110 per hour for a small room. The large, big ballrooms are really subsidizing the use of the small room, which really is the intent of what we want here. We don't want to price people out of the market. So unfortunately, when we start looking at the specific costs that we have going on, we're going to be pretty much out of line with a lot of our competition. It's going to take a little bit of dumpster diving through the numbers to figure out exactly why that is. But yeah, I think it's a worthy exercise. It's just going to take quite a bit of time to really allocate things out. I know I'm still missing a few things, and I have $110 for a small room, which I don't think would sit very well with a lot of folks.
Okay, I guess I just wanted to make sure where we were. And as long as, excuse me, do I have permission to speak again?
Yes.
Sorry.
Follow-up.
I just get going sometimes. I just need to shut up. But just as long as there's plenty of money in the TOT fund to cover that, that's fine. But I guess the business part of me says that no sense giving away something we don't have to. So anyway, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just going to add with regard to Councilor Kohler's question, and Mr. Wood or Ms. Vaughn may want to talk about this too. At the work session, it was pointed out, our competition has a loss leader on most places because they make money on the caterers. We don't make any money on the caterers at all. In fact, it's a headache. But it has been impressed upon me, as I mentioned at the work session, that is a plus for us in terms of the marketplace. So I think you probably have to focus, like a lot of business, on you're not going to be able to charge more than your competition.
Thank you. I know one of the issues that has been part of developing the use of this event space here in the Civic Center has been how to keep it accessible for the community members to use for small gatherings, for true public service types of gatherings, and that does have to be subsidized by the overall cost. That's where the TOT comes in, because we can demonstrate that this space does generate heads and beds. And that is the nexus of transient occupancy tax that comes from our hotels. We have 2, and in not too distant future, we'll have 3. So we can demonstrate to our hotels, we have a space that brings visitors to you. So using this tax for the benefit of having this space for your visitors to come to for events is a win-win. On top of that, we have businesses that can come here and do business. The caterers, the event planners, the people who do decorations and so forth. This is a space that, because it is open to professional businesses to come here as part of events, we're also a space for that promotes our local economy. And that has always been part of why we wanted to run it in this manner, where the city is not providing specific services. We're providing the space for businesses to provide those services. So that's part of that nexus, and keeping the room rates low for the small rooms. So there I go on the historian part again. Any other questions for our staff members? Ms. Vaughn, Mr. Johnson? Yes, Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Fantastic. I know that you've been really thinking about marketing just in other conversations that we've had, and I'm looking at the budget, and it was 4,000 was the budget. Have you used all that marketing money to change all your marketing materials to the new name?
That was not the purpose of the marketing we've done. The purpose was to get our name out there and the fact that we exist out there. So we have used that money to get into 3 publications through the rest of the year.
Thank you.
All right. Fantastic. Anything further? All right. Council President Starr?
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2023, adopting use policies and rates for the Keizer Community Center rooms, repealing Resolution R 2018-2932.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2023, adopting use policies and rates for the Keizer Community Center rooms, repealing Resolution R 2018-2932. Discussion. Councilor Kohler.
Was there an addition that we need to make on the insurance part?
Mr. Johnson.
For purposes of discussion, and we can discuss this further on line 21 of it's page 2 of the resolution, page 22 of the packet, under the alcohol catering. So line 21, the previous line says, unless specified by specific contract, I would add the phrase to that, approved by the city attorney. And then at the bottom of that same page on line 41, right after the figure $2 million, I would insert, unless a lower amount is approved by the city attorney. And if I may, Madam Mayor, comment.
Yes.
And I think most of the councilors know this, so I apologize if you do. The city's insurance currently is called the retro plan with CIS. And what that means is in good years, we save a lot of money. And over the last several years, the city has saved a lot of money compared to the regular cost of the premium with CIS. However, in a bad year, when we have a lot of claims, we end up paying a lot more. And we hope the good years outlast, and they have, the bad years. When we had, you may not recall, it's been many, many years ago, a tree fall on a house up by Meadows Park. Fortunately, no one was hurt. It was significant damage. And the city had to pay a portion of that. It's like a very large deductible. The biggest hit is sometimes on police use of force cases, a case we had where we were totally within the right, but it had to go to full trial, and the jury came back in our favor immediately. Well, we paid all those attorney fees. So that's when the plaintiff got 0, but it still costs a lot. So we don't like to have, we like to make sure we have insurance in place so we don't have to go to our insurance, and that's the reason for that. With regard to Councilor Cross's issue, that would be fine to switch that with regard to the medium rooms. However, my concern would be the same risk is there. I mean, theoretically, you could have more people in a bigger room and more risk, but you could have the same number in a medium-sized room as you did in the big room, and the risk is about the same. So that would be my concern. But obviously, it's however council wants to address the question.
All right, thank you. So the one change was on line
21, right after the word contract.
contract, comma, as approved by the city attorney.
Right.
Okay, and that is
Which line, 21?
Okay, so this is alcohol policies. And this is section H.
Correct.
Alcohol caterers, servers shall secure at their own expense general liability insurance with minimums of 2 million per occurrence and liquor liability insurance with a minimum of 2 million per occurrence unless specified by a specific contract as per the city attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's alcohol, section H. Okay. And the other was
Line 41.
line 41. So this is again, page 2 of the resolution, page 22 of the packet. And that is,
Right after the figure 2 million, unless a different amount is approved by the city attorney.
okay. That's, is the, we have a motion on the table, right? So are the amendments accepted by the mover?
Yes.
By the second?
Yes.
Okay. Is the resolution stands amended? Okay, anything further? Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the base use rates, I just have a couple clarification questions. I think it could be the way I'm reading it. Base use rates, section D, Keizer-based 501c organizations use 2 medium rooms or the large ballroom for a base use fee of $600. That seems, what am I missing? Don't we have 3 medium rooms that make up the whole ballroom? So do you see where I'm confused? Why would we charge the same amount to nonprofits for 2 medium rooms as we would the entire large ballroom?
There is a reason. That part you'll notice is not changed. So that was really discussed recently. There was a reason for that quite a few years ago. And I wasn't really privy to that. The only thing I can think of offhand is we really have a hard time getting use of the other small rooms when it's going. I guess, do you know, Tim?
That would be part of it. To be honest with you, we've never actually used that dollar amount. In all the situations where that would have applied, the city council has waived the fees.
Okay, but it still doesn't make sense to me then why it would be in a resolution the same amount for 2 different sized rooms.
Thank you. I do have some groups, some smaller nonprofits who hope to grow in the future. And although they would love to use the entire space, they know they can't fill it. So I do have some who would actually prefer a smaller
Then why
space.
don't we give it to them for $500? 2 medium rooms for, I mean, why are we charging the same amount for 2 different sized rooms?
So to answer your question, that would be for all day use. So that $600 would be, they could have it all day basically. When you start looking at the price for the medium rooms, that is a 4-hour block that you're talking about. So they're getting it basically for half price of what someone normally would pay.
Okay, still doesn't make sense to me. And I used to rent rooms all the time for events, and it still doesn't make sense, but okay.
Councilor Starr, a lot of it had to do with, because as Ms. Vaughn said, for the nonprofits, those are the 2 spaces for fundraisers. It's already severely discounted, so rather than have 2 different rates, a lot of what goes into the setup is similar. So it's not so much the square footage, it's what it takes to get it ready to go. And I believe that was part of the reasoning way back when, said, you know what, we're setting a really low rate anyway. Either way, it's going to take this much work. A lot of it has to do with the setup. Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I know that you brought it up. So when would this contract go into effect?
As it's written, it'd be effective upon signing. So if you want to make an amendment.
So if somebody had already, if we would have to make an amendment.
if they've signed a contract already, that price would apply.
Right, but if they've already
somebody-
printed it out and maybe they're budgeting and planning.
Ms. Vaughn?
I do have a comment on that may help, I'm not sure. But when someone puts a date on hold, we give them 1 week to submit a contract to us.
There we go.
So they can't have a date on hold for more than a week.
That's helpful, so thank you, but I'm more like education in case like, hey, I thought that car was $8,000 and now it's not. So how are we educating the public and being good neighbors?
Ms. Vaughn?
We are urging people to fill out their use agreements and get them to us. And, when we say we'll hold it for a week, we say these prices will be good if you turn it in within a week. But we're being honest, we don't know if and when they'll go up or down. And they might stay the same. We just didn't know, but we have been really open with people about the possibility of changes.
Thank you. Thank you for all your hard work. I guess my feedback on that would be, it would feel good if we just put it to January, and maybe you could have some great article written about you and all the things you're doing and educating at the same time.
I think our team would be very open to that.
Okay. Council President Starr?
So again, about effective date of the rates. So since it seems that we don't have a contract ready, can we just make the rates effective when the new contract is done?
I prefer date certain.
January 1, this nebulous thing is not, from a former event planner perspective, just doesn't work in my head. It's frustrating. Okay, thank you.
Do you want to make a friendly amendment?
Do you want to amend?
Then I'll amend whatever I said to make it happen. What do I need to amend?
January 1st.
Change the effective date to.
I
January 1.
amend the motion or the ordinance to reflect increase effective date January 1.
It's a resolution, but yes, that's,
Well,
I accept.
okay, so the resolution stands amended where the rates will go into effect January 1, 2024. Anything further?
Just one question.
Councilor Reed?
Ms. Vaughn, would that affect anything negatively in terms of your world?
I think that now we can tell people that the rates will change by January 1st, 2024, and that if their contract's not in by then, they will be subject to the new rates.
Okay, thank you.
That's not a bad thing.
Right?
All right, anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent. That's Councilor Husman. Thank you very much, Ms. Vaughn.
Thank you.
Very good. All right, let's go on to item 8B, which is the Alder and Brooks flashing speed signs installation priority. Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. September 5th, council meeting, council directed staff to install flashing speed signs on Alder Drive near the intersection of Brooks Avenue. What wasn't discussed was the timing of those. Currently, those were not allocated within the current street fund budget for fiscal year 23-24. Things have progressed through the construction season enough that I now know that the resurfacing project was a bit under budget. So there are funds available, albeit in the capital outlay portion of the street fund budget, not the specific line that this would be budgeted to in the street fund budget for the cost of these flashing speed signs, which I estimate to be about $14,000. So staff is looking for direction from council on, do we install them this fiscal year or wait until next fiscal year? And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, this is, again, more education for me, so I know what to do better next time. When we talked about this in September, I made the assumption, so shame on me, that it was, when we said we wanted them installed, that it was going to get installed this fiscal year. What do I need to do differently next time? so that we are clear about the date that when we make the motion or we give the direction, what do I need to do differently?
If I don't bring it up, ask me, because I erred on this one initially about the timing when it came to council in September, honestly. And if you recall, the discussion started with a rapid flashing beacon, and the recommendation was no on that. The conversation then evolved around to the flashing speed signs, and I erred in not bringing this up at the time. I waited to bring it back so I knew what options were available. I'm far enough through the resurfacing project to know what that end number is. So that does free up some funding in this fiscal year. But as I say, in the future, if I don't bring it up, just ask me, please. And I will make it a point to bring it up.
No, so just making sure we know when the date or when
Yeah.
kind of the year. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You bet.
Thank you. Any further questions on the staff report or recommendation? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, if we said, go ahead and do it, how far out are we looking to do it? If we said, let's get it done as soon as we can get it done, what would you anticipate a construction date?
Probably 45 to 60 days. That's assuming the equipment is as available as it was a few weeks ago. I think it takes about 30 days to get the equipment, so.
Thank you very much. Anything further? Council President Starr.
So I don't have my verbiage guidance here, so I'm gonna do this on the fly. But I move that the Keizer City Council approve capital outlay expense for the installation of the flashing speed signs as soon as feasibly possible.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for installing the flashing speed signs as soon as possible, which is also known as this fiscal year. Any further discussion? Councilor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and this is more of a comment that we, again, are being transparent and being good neighbors to Mr. Geardoff or whoever it is that's, if all of a sudden things are out 60 days, that we're saying ahead of time because our goal is the end of the year.
End of fiscal year, correct? Because this is the fiscal year 23-24.
I thought our fiscal year ended at the end of June,
Yeah,
so we want it done by June? Didn't he say 30 to 45 days?
right. He just said, based on the availability of the equipment.
Well, I guess my follow-up would be, I hope it's done in 60 to 90 days.
Right.
I think that's fair. That should not be a problem.
Okay. Good to know.
Unless we're surprised with supply chain issues, but I've not heard anything like that, so I would expect they are fairly readily available.
Okay. We know supply chain has been an issue, so let's hope for the best. And when it's going to go to construction, then post on Facebook so we can get the word out to the neighborhood that there's going to be some minor disruption in that area during the installation?
We will let the public know they're being installed. These are fairly easy to install. In other words, what I'm saying is not a major construction project. They're like the ones on Shoreline, okay? So they're not like the ones on Chihuahua. They're like the ones on Shoreline. A lot easier. Staff installs those. We don't have a contractor do them. But yes, we will make sure the public is aware that they're going in and that and when they will be activated.
Perfect. Thank you. Anything further? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, and that's Councilor Hussman. That now takes us to item 8C, which is a resolution adopting volunteer coordinating committees process for appointments to city council committees. Ms. Bissett.
Great. So this item came up because there was recent confusion at one of the volunteer coordinating committee meetings. And so in an effort to clarify the process, Chair Hickman, Mayor Clark, Deputy City Recorder, and myself met to review the process. A proposed process was brought before the VCC at their most recent meeting on November 9th. The VCC made some additional changes during their meeting, and then they made a motion to recommend the process to be forwarded to the City Council for adoption. City Attorney Johnson also reviewed the process, and he's included a couple revisions as well.
All right, thank you very much. And before I go to questions, I want to thank Chair Daisy Hickman, Ms. Bissett, and Ms. Wilson for tremendous work on really reviewing this process soup to nuts to make sure that we are really clear on how this is going to happen. This is really important for people coming to the Volunteer Coordinating Committee to know what to expect, and for our appointees from the City Council to know what the job is that they are being asked to do with clear tools. So I'm really, really grateful for everybody's participation in this. Questions on the procedure or on the staff report? Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And Ms. Bissett is working on this, but just when it says announcement that we're distributing this to the media and posted on the city's webpage, social media, and at City Hall, it would be nice if sooner rather than later we can get those in Spanish.
Noted. Yes. English and Spanish. Thank you. Anything further? All right. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2023, adopting volunteer coordinating committees process for appointments to the City Council committees.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2023, adopting volunteer coordinating committees process for appointments to the City Council committees. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent as Councilor Hessman. Again, thank you to everybody involved. Item 8D is a resolution authorizing city manager to enter into the First Amendment of restated ground lease with Keizer Heritage Foundation. Who gets this one, Mr. Wood or Mr. Johnson? Or
I get it. Yeah. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This is the First Amendment to the restated lease. The lease with Keizer Heritage Foundation began in 1995. It expired in 2012, at which time it was restated. It included, after the 10-year term, 3 extensions of 5 years. So the council did extend it in 2022 for the next 5-year term. So it will be up for an extension in 2027 and then 2032. But this is an amendment to that restated ground lease, and there are basically 4 changes to it. One, the first is to add Keizer Homegrown Theater as a tenant. The second one is that they don't need to have a CPA annually review their financials. The third one is that the city will be taking on maintenance of the grounds surrounding the footprint. We have been maintaining the grass and the clippings on the north and west side over the past several years, and the foundation has asked us to take over the remainder of the grounds. The east side was replaced with a rock covering so as to reduce the amount of maintenance that it would take. So what's really gonna, the heavy workload will be maintaining the south side, which is mostly mulched, but weed control and leaf maintenance in the back entrance area. And that will save the Heritage Foundation about $3,800 a year that they were paying towards maintenance. So I think I said there were 4, but those are the 3 items that are in the amendment to the lease. So out-of-pocket cost, it will probably be $1,000. The greater impact will be on staff time, for which will be absorbed by the park staff. The appropriation that they receive annually is not tied to the lease. And so we will continue to receive a request for appropriation during the budget process, and the council can consider that separately from the lease. Right now, they provide a service to maintaining the building and programming the space inside there that the city does not have to do. So with that, our recommendation is the council adopt the resolution authorizing the First Amendment to the restated lease.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report or the amendment? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Just a question on the financial impact in your staff report. It says that the city will incur the liability for the exterior grounds, which will have a small monetary impact on our insurance rate. What is that monetary impact rate? Do we have any idea?
I think you're talking in terms of hundreds of dollars, not more than this. But we don't have the specific number, but we'll add it to our insurance rate, and then they'll send us back. I can let you know what it is, but.
So that's city-owned ground, correct?
Actually, it was under the care of, under the current lease, it is city-owned ground, but has a lease. So like if you were
The
like a
liability
tenant,
is on them.
yes.
Okay.
We would be transferring the liability to the city through this amendment.
So when, I just want to be clear, we talk about, you said the out-of-pocket cost for services not absorbed by staff is $1,000. But then in addition, we're going to have several hundred, what was that number you're thinking? Maybe a few $100s a year?
Yeah, a few hundred. You're right. It would be in addition to the $1,000.
Okay, and when will we know what that cost is?
Pretty soon. We could share that with you immediately.
That'd be great, when we know what that extra cost will be. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to clarify, that's liability on the grounds, not in the building. They still have their own liability in the building. Is that correct?
That's correct. Council
Okay,
Kohler.
follow up.
Follow up?
The other thing that I understand is that Robert Johnson spent some time with them to help them determine which shrubs and such should go away to make their job easier to maintain the grounds, and they've done their due diligence on that. Is that correct?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor, Councilor Kohler, and Council. Robert has given them a lot of advice, and just last year, the tree canopy was raised to make it a little bit easier to maintain. So it's, with the exception of some weeds there now, it's in pretty good shape, but we'll maintain it to the same standard as we do the rest of the campus here.
Thank you very much. Councilor Reed, and before I go to you, I just want to say thank you. Councilor Reed is our liaison to the Keizer Heritage Foundation Board of Directors, and has done a fantastic job representing the city and helping shepherd this process through. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. It's a fantastic asset for our community, and I've been really enjoying my role in that capacity. So just to clarify a few things. So first of all, thank you so much to Bill and your staff. I know this is a difficult paradigm shift, and I appreciate that that you are willing to do this, because I do understand that it is going to be more work for your people. So big thank you. And yes, we did work with Robert to figure out how we can make it more manageable. And Keizer Heritage Foundation, I want to say, invested about $3,000 to make those necessary changes to the grounds. The biggest thing is the leaves, and particularly in the fall. So that's and just to kind of give some background, that land was before this campus. So the Heritage Foundation took responsibility for that piece of land because there was no other developed land in this area. And then when this Civic Center campus grew, then it was a different thing, even though it's kind of the same thing. So anyway, and then just the costs with all the costs of services and the inflation of everything else, it got to the point where the Keizer Heritage Foundation really had to make some cuts, and this was the ask that they had made to be able to maintain their responsibility in keeping that building up to the level that that has been established. So just wanted to, again, thank you to staff and thank you to Attorney Shannon Johnson and to City Manager Adam Brown. And the President, Robert Becker, was here this evening. He had a family member in the ER, and but he was at the beginning of the meeting. I sent him home back to his family so that he could take care of that. But anyway, they are very grateful. All of the board is. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I also appreciate that in the staff report, it reminded all of us that the city has continued to invest in the Keizer Heritage Center, the cultural center. Recently, we did 2 appropriations for of ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act funds, for the lower story windows, which were a huge need. Those windows were completely inadequate, and that will save them a lot of heating and cooling costs, as well as security. And then we also allocated an additional $30,000 to replace the south-facing door to make it and handicap accessible. So the city continues to invest in this, this space for community to come together for cultural purposes. All right, anything further before we put a motion on the table? Council President Starr.
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2023, authorizing the city manager to enter into a First Amendment of restated ground lease with the Keizer Heritage Foundation.
Second, enthusiastically.
It has been moved and enthusiastically seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2023, authorizing city manager to enter into First Amendment of restated ground lease with Keizer Heritage Foundation. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with 1 absent, and that is Councilor Hussman. And that concludes the administrative action for this evening. Council President Starr, would you like to read the very lengthy consent calendar?
Well, I thought about asking Mr. Johnson if I could just make a motion as printed today, but I thought otherwise. So I move the Keizer City Council adopt the consent calendar. Item A, approval of October 16th, 2023 regular session minutes.
Second.
Consent calendar has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Other business, this time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new oral matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. All right, okay. Council President Starr.
Okay. I move that I move that the city not appeal the PERS staff determination dated November 8th, 2023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council not appeal the PERS staff determination dated November 8, 2023. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with 1 absent, that is Councilor Hussman. I'll put this here for Ms. Bissett.
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Johnson.
just a brief statement. Working with Mr. Wood and Ms. DePina and Mr. Brown and myself, we hope to have more detailed information to the public on this issue within the next 24 to 48 hours.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Is there any other business that staff would like to bring before council this evening? All right. Let's go to staff updates. Mr. Brown.
Madam Mayor, Council, I do not have any additional business for you tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Wood.
Just a word of the wise, if you're going to go travel, consider bringing a load of laundry with you, do it at someone else's house. We're in the middle of the sewer reset period, so as much water as you can possibly conserve right now, you'll be happy the rest of the year. Thank you.
You'll be interested to know I just changed the dishwasher soap because it doesn't have to use the pre-wash. So there you go. I'm going to be watching that. Thank you very much. Yep. Ms. Bissett.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Chief.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council. I have nothing new to add other than just super appreciate your support. And tonight was a great healing event for a very traumatic incident that happened a couple of years ago. So thank you.
Thank you. And again, our apologies for making everybody wait this evening. But I'm glad that it was worth waiting for 2 more years plus another half hour. And again, our deep appreciation for the extraordinary bravery and the cool, calm, collected response under a very difficult circumstance by all involved.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one thing. I mentioned at the last meeting the impending disruption to the traffic signals on River Road. I checked today with the city of Salem to find out the schedule, to confirm the schedule was accurate that I had for when the copper wire was going to be cut. Copper wire has already been cut. Unbeknownst to me, I think that happened about 2.5 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe now. I haven't noticed a lot of changes to the signals. So I hope that means we won't see a bunch more. It's going to be weeks yet before everything's hooked back up. But the good news is the copper's been cut. Things are working fine.
All right. We will keep that good thought all the way through the holiday season. Everybody, take a chill. Enjoy the beautiful Christmas lights that have now been put up. Mr. Witham.
Thank you, Madam.
Sorry, we do have one more thing. Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, do you have a report on the recent water main breaks and the repairs?
Well, I wouldn't quite qualify them as a break, but we had some fairly good leaks. One on Claxer Road that was repaired, steel pipe that rotted away. Staff got that fixed. One on Marigold that pretty big leak for the age of that pipe. We discovered we had some rotten pipe on the bottom. We kind of put a Band-Aid on it temporarily, stopped the water leak. We're gonna have to go back and cut out at least probably 20 feet of pipe and replace it. We're not quite sure yet how far we're gonna have to go, but we'll schedule that, do that under a controlled environment instead of under an emergency environment when we have water running everywhere. Staff handled those very well, did them both in one day on Friday. Very, very pleased with what they did on a half crew day.
Thank you very much and well done. Mr. Witham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have anything too important other than I do have a house full of college students that are home for the holiday week. So I'm looking for places I can send them to take showers since Mr. Woods said we're in sewer reset. Yeah, so Tim? No, but happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you all have a good week with family.
All right, thank you very much.
Do we need to turn on the water?
Yeah, turn on the fountains again. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to update council on where we are with the codification project. The Civic Plus, I'm not sure what the name of the company is. It was actually the same company that handled the other issue with the city. Was late getting the matter to us by several months. However, it is now, I'm sorry to report, with me since sometime early October. We had a very long but fruitful meeting. Our assistant Tammy and I sat in with a Zoom meeting with the what's called the code attorney, who's been doing this all his life, codes all over the nation, from Florida. And unfortunately, the number of questions he had when Tammy took notes on there and typed them up, the list of questions, I'm not sure how many questions there were, but they ran for 4 pages. And I don't know how many there are per page. Some of them are quick answers, some of them are not. And I've had some pressing matters that got in there, so I'm trying to make that a priority project, but that's where we are currently with that, and I will update you when we kind of get to the next step.
Thank you very much.
It's basically, 40 years worth of ordinances that some of them go way back and some things are not matching up. And so I knew it was going to be a lot of work, and it's even more work than I thought. So.
Well, we knew it was going to be a lot of work, and downloading 40 years of your experience on top of all of that, we knew this needed to happen. So thank you for the tremendous lift that this is, and it's going to be really important for us going forward. So thank you, and Tammy, for the tremendous work that's going into it. All right, let's go to council reports. Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. November 7th, I stopped by the fire levy election night party, so that was great. November 8th, Keizer Chamber Board meeting, and then the SEDCOR Monthly Educational Forum. November 9th, Latino Business Alliance Expo Negocio here, and the 11th, a couple Veterans Day events. I went to the Peter Courtney event, Tacos and Talk, and then I ended up at the Elks for the Suicide Veterans fundraiser. 13th, Salem Chamber Monthly Forum Luncheon. November 14th, Safe Routes to School at Hammond Elementary with Salem City Councilor Julie Hoy. And let's see, on the 16th, the Red Kettle Kickoff Lunch for Salvation Army, followed by the Boys and Girls Club rivalry auction that night. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Councilor Joanne.
I will just list the ones that I did not go to with her. And so yesterday, we did the Christmas street lights. If anybody noticed, those were up.
Yes, we did.
Early in the morning, so we got those done. I think there's a couple light poles that may need some attention, but I'm sure that's already been taken or already been discussed. Future things, tree lighting is December 5th, Tuesday evening. I don't remember what time. I didn't write that down, but I meant 6. Okay, 6 o'clock. Christmas lights parade Saturday, December 9th in the evening. And in the morning, December 9th, the Keizer Chamber Giving Basket delivery. If anybody wants to help out with that, call the chamber and get set up on that. There's a few other things going on the week of the 4th through the 9th or through the 7th for the Giving Basket, and I will let somebody else take care of that. Thank you.
All right, Council President Starr.
Thanks, Councilor Duran. I just, first of all, would be not a good dog mom if I didn't remind everyone that there is a notice out there of a mystery illness. And so I think we have notices posted on our dog park, correct? We did that?
I'm not sure if they got posted today or not, but I'll follow up in the morning.
Great, thank you. So there's the Oregon State Director of Oregon Veterinary Diagnostics Lab says to avoid dog parks until mystery illness is solved. So I just want to remind everybody in doing my dog mom duties. The Miracle of Lights kicks off on December 1st and runs through December 26th. So very grateful to the community partner team that has come together to make sure that wonderful holiday tradition is carried on. There are tags at a number of locations here in Keizer. Please visit the Keizer Chamber Facebook page for the Giving Tree tags and pick those up. And there are also on their social media, I'm going to take the easy way out on Keizer Chamber Facebook page, is all the information you could want about when the wrapping is happening for all of the giving baskets and the food sorting and everything that goes on. Oh, look at that. It's right there. So since I'm talking about it, December 1st, make sure you have all of your tree tags or tree tag gifts returned. Councilor Duran already talked about the tree lighting on the 5th. The 6th is the gift wrapping at Santa Central at 4:30. 7th, I'm going to put my glasses on because I'm going to send you somewhere else if I don't. December 7th is food sorting at Santa Central, 4:30. He mentioned the distribution, the lights parade, And we would be remiss to not invite everybody to the Chamber After Hours on December 14th. Thank you. Can clean up the mess that I just created with announcing all of that. So I mentioned Miracle of Lights. We've had planning committee meeting on November 8th, and we'll have probably one last one next week to make sure I can report back that Lily, May, and Apollo did get the dog biscuits, so we are covered for that, along with the candy canes. On November 9th, we had the Volunteer Coordinating Committee meeting. November 16th was the Chamber After Hours at the Rec. Just want to give a shout out to both the Keizer Chamber and Tim at the Rec. Tim opens up the Rec for so many different community functions and organizations, so just a shout out to Tim and the crew down there. On Friday night, I had the privilege to attend a the Keizer Heritage Foundation event, Native American Storytelling with Ed Edmo. Extra special. Just the first time in about 2.5 months that my mom's been able to leave her care facility, so that was fun. I broke her out of jail, used the awesome elevator that was put in over there during the pandemic, and will be very grateful when the handicap door is installed. So, thank you for that.
All right, thank you very much. Councillor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's been an exciting couple of weeks. I got to attend the McNary area-wide orchestra concert. Always a lot of fun to see the young people and grades and middle schools come together and have a concert in the gym at McNary High School with all the parents on both sides yelling and screaming and standing in everybody's way. It was a lot of fun, and again, it's neat to see all the kids do things. I went to SEDCOR Luncheon where they celebrated 40 years for Marion Polk and Yamhill group, and the food beverage roundtable we had with Mayor Clark and Councilor Cross, who also attended that. On the 13th, the Keizer United, we had quite an interesting event where we had all kinds of different people come and tell about what they do and how they do, different assets to the community and how we can use those. One of the things that we talked about a little bit was we have a toy drop. There's some, if you have used toys that are still in good shape, but they're used, unlike the thing that the distribution that the chamber does, we can put used toys either in, there's some boxes at the front here where you can put some used toys, or there's some boxes over at the library, and recycle your toys, and it's all right. We give those to some needed kids. I attended the Parks Board meeting, which was already reported tonight, and Northwest Keizer Neighborhood Association. We talked a little bit about some signage at Keizer Elementary School, and I'll follow up some more on that. 10 people there, so it was a good group. A lot of activity there going on. Appreciate that. On 17th, I attended Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Community Center turkey dinner. So we served about 75 people there, a turkey dinner. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot smaller than the Keizer Community Dinner, which is coming up this week, but good group, good food. I got to know the people in the kitchen. I got to actually do some serving there too. And a huge big thank you on the 19th to Dave Walry and the group of elves that put up the holiday decorations. A lot of fun to watch them do that. And I commented to a couple people today as I was going down the road. I said, so did you know that the holiday decorations are up? And they went, no. Look at them, they're good. I look at all the work that goes into getting those put up, and it really brings a lot to our community. Thank you, Mr. Christmas and his crew. Of course, the 22nd Keizer Community Dinner, the 23rd, Happy Thanksgiving to all. Have a good time. And then I had all these things that the chamber's doing, but somebody else has talked about all those. My granddaughter has said, when is the tree lighting? I want you to take me again. So I will be there.
It's going to be a good time to be had by all. And I believe Keizer Fire District will be assisting Santa in arriving at the tree lighting. So looking forward to that. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I was able to attend the West Keizer Neighborhood Association meeting, and that was always wonderfully informative. And just again, really appreciate all the work that everybody does with that neighborhood association in getting the word out of our community resources and events. I attended the Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day at Forest Ridge Elementary, and there was a good showing of kids, and they had learned about Ruby Bridges, and it's a good thing to see that combined with a Safe Routes to School program, and so that was a lot of fun. I attended the Keizer Heritage Foundation annual meeting, and at that point is when we voted this lease, and so again, or the lease amendment rather. So again, thank you to all involved with that. I also attended the Edmo Native American storytelling. It's so exciting to see National Recognition Months in action, and the Cultural Center not only did the Keizer Homegrown Theater host that event, but also the museum has a display up. There's some art in the gallery, and downstairs there are some Native American pictures, and so really doing a good job of education and celebration of Native Americans in our area. I attended the McNary Bazaar on Saturday, and that was a lot of fun. It's one of the better bazaars around the area, and so a lot of really interesting booths, and it's always a fun event, just as an event. Tomorrow we have a real quick Public Arts Commission meeting, and it's a really quick Zoom meeting to approve some of the art coming up, but that will be very short. And we have a couple book fairs going on in town. Both Forest Ridge and Keizer Elementary will be having book fairs the week after Thanksgiving. And if you are interested in donating, they would welcome those donations. I put the link to the Keizer Elementary one on my Facebook page. So if you can go and donate to that, it's such a magical thing for kids to have books in their hands, and so I would encourage you all to support that if you possibly can. And then the Community Action Agency, Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency, I got to go to my first board meeting right away as soon as I got appointed to that, and just so impressed with the work they're doing there. They are really fighting poverty on many fronts, and there will be a very exciting release tomorrow morning about a grant that they were recently awarded that's going to allow them to help 1,000 families in terms of shelter, housing, and providing service, and they just do such a lot of really great work, and this grant is a testament to the kind of work they do and how effectively they do it. And they are an important partner for the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance, and together we are doing great things. Tomorrow there's an opening, or a tour of the Sequoia House. They're popping up all over town. You see the Community Action Agency sign in repurposed hotels and schoolrooms. There's one up on Wheatland that just turned into a Head Start facility. So really making some good use of the funds that they've been able to procure. So I'm excited to be a part of that, and I'm grateful that it finally went through.
Me too. And thank you so much for being willing to do that. Looking forward to the announcement tomorrow.
Yes,
it's
for sure.
huge.
And what I am really impressed with that organization is the combination of the stories and the data. You know, and that's such an important part of telling the story. The stories bring the data to life, and so I appreciate that focus.
Indeed. Thank you so much. Youth Councilor Woodard.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this past week at McNary, we had our Living History Day last week, where we had veterans come in for our Living History Day assembly, which the band and orchestra played in. It was really good. We had veterans come in to speak in the classrooms, share some stories, some thoughts, and it's really a good opportunity to kind of learn and hear from their voice. And tomorrow, Blue Day, which is McNary's version of like a sports showcase kind of. So tomorrow is the winter sports showcase, and that will be from 6 to 9 p.m. in the gym. And then we also have December 1st, the FAFSA opens up for all college students. That will be something that they'll want to apply for. And then I also went to the Holiday Bazaar, which is really good, bought some sweatshirts in support of McNary. And then in terms of performing arts, the McNary concerts for the start of December, the holiday concerts. The holiday band concert's gonna be December 6th. The orchestra concert is gonna be December 7th, and then the winter choir concert will be on December 12th. And that's it, thank you.
When was the orchestra?
December 12th.
All right, thank you very much.
Orchestra is December 7th.
Appreciate all the activities going on. Just a few things to add. Also went to the SUDCOR luncheon on the food industry. That was fascinating to hear from local businesses. And it was, again, a pleasure to be part of the process with the Volunteer Coordinating Committee on updating our procedures. Expo Negocios was a huge success. Again, thank you to Lily Vaughn and her staff. Thank you to our community and all of the organizers, and in particular, Fatima Falcon, for her tremendous work in putting on this tremendous event for businesses in our community. The feedback has been very positive, and we look forward to great things happening for our businesses. That same day, though I did have to nip out for a little bit, I went to the Marion County Health Building ribbon cutting. The creation of this building had been a long time coming, much, much needed. It is a, when you walk in, it's a welcoming human scale space for people to come and receive services all in the same building, in a great space for the different departments of the Marion County Health Department or Division to work together. So I appreciate the invitation to attend, and was happy to be there and represent Keizer. Later that afternoon was the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance Board, and we received our annual review of our gaps analysis, looking at what we have, what we're working toward, and making sure that our organizations, our service providers, and government partners are working together toward making sure that we have a comprehensive and well-functioning system of services for people to leave homelessness permanently. And again, very excited for the upcoming announcement from the Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency, also for the opening soon, we hope, for Sequoia Crossing and Courtney Place. They're waiting on some electrical panels that are, speaking of a supply chain, they're hung up, they're coming from China. So that's the last thing they need, and they can open those spaces. I had a great conversation with Salem Keizer Superintendent Andrea Castaneda, invited me to sit down and visit about community. She's working very hard to connect with leaders in our area, and really wanting to understand the community in which she has chosen to move and work, and I appreciated that opportunity. On Friday night and Saturday, I was invited to participate in the Siletz Tribal Council meeting, celebration dinner for their annual restoration celebration and powwow, and then went to the events on Saturday morning at the Chinook Winds. Wonderful to see the young children who were there, celebrating the youth that are embracing their language, culture, and traditions, and to be part of that celebration for the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians. Make sure you tune in to Coffee with Kathy. The holiday preview edition had a lot of the announcements for many of the things you've heard tonight. All of the posters and flyers were also posted on Facebook, and I want to particularly thank Jane Lowry from the Keizer Chamber of Commerce, who was on the program to talk about what was happening with the Keizer Chamber of Commerce, and Betty Hart from the Keizer Fire District, all the great things that are happening both with the Fire District and the Keizer Community Library for the holidays. looking forward to the Keizer Miracle of Christmas, December 1st to the 26th. If you want to bring 9 of your closest friends and volunteer at the collection site, sign up. The nights are being booked very quickly. Council, we will be there on December 2nd. Looking forward to that. Also coming up will be next Monday. I will be on Coin 6 Mayor's Monday at 7:35 in the morning. So looking forward to that. And on Tuesday, the 28th, the Salem Keizer Area Transportation Study, SCATS, our MPO, will be meeting in our monthly gathering, talk about federal funding for transportation. I would be remiss if I did not also wish Councilor Cross a happy birthday on December 4th, which will be the date of our next council meeting. So it's what we do. Hey, I get to do council on my anniversary, so that'll be a lot of fun. Please mark your calendars for an open house for the Verta Lane project. It will be right here on December 7th from 4 to 7. Come and learn about that project that is getting ready to go to construction in 2025. And want people to know what is planned for that space. And that is all I have for right now. Okay, let's go to agenda input. On December 4th, we will meet in regular session starting at 7 p.m. On December 11th, we will have a city council work session starting at 6 p.m. on the strategic plan. On December 18th at 7 p.m., we will meet in regular session. And just want to let folks know that we are working on rescheduling the work session regarding rights of way and franchising for January. We will also be looking to schedule a joint work session with Traffic Safety Bike Ped for the Neighborhood Traffic Management Plan, which they've been working on very hard. I was able to attend that meeting. Their liaison wasn't here tonight. I will spare you a long report on that. I want to point out one thing in particular. They've been working very hard on doing a spreadsheet of the different projects that people from the community have been bringing them so they can better track the conversations and the progress, the feasibility and solutions for people in our community who would like to address traffic issues. Well done to the Traffic Safety, Bikeways, and Pedestrian Committee. All right, that is all I have. Is there anything else for the good of the order? All right, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. It is 9:24. We are adjourned.